Hello, this is Steve Geischer bringing you another Parts Now tech tip. What I want to talk about today is kind of following up on a series of paper jam issues. We talked about two other jam types already. We got into the immediate jam, where I turn on the machine, I didn't even tell it to print, and it immediately goes to paper jam status. We talked about a physical jam, where paper is going crunch in the path and trying to troubleshoot through that one. On the one that we have today, this is called a stop jam. In a stop jam, I've got media that's kind of moved its way into the paper path and it just stops. And when I look at it, I'm looking to see, well, did anything cause it to go crunch, physically stop it, get in the way? Everything looks great. And obviously I was able to print, so it wasn't my immediate jam or my power up jam. So what's going on here? There's two different things that could be causing this. First thing I want to think through is what could cause it to delay. And just looking at this, guys, so let you think about that. I've got a stop jam inside here right now. So as I open up the top lid, and I'm going to pull out the toner cartridge, and we can look inside here. And I'm going to zoom the camera in so we can take a look at that piece of paper in the paper path, as I've caused a stop jam here, so to speak. And I want to take a look and see, okay, are there any crunch marks across the top here? Is there anything that's caused it to go, snag, and not get further down the paper path? And I don't see anything here. And as I pull the paper out here, I can carefully pull it from here. Do I see anything across the top? No nick marks, no nothing there. Pull it out. Do I see any crease marks? Anything that looks like it's, yanking against the paper and delaying it? And I'm not seeing much of anything here. So as I'm looking across the top here, looking across the sides, I've got a little bend in here where I put my finger on it, but I really don't have anything that looks like it's delaying the media or slowing it down. Because the problem in this case is in a stop type of jam, oftentimes the first scenario we have is a sensor out here looking for the media, and the media is moving along, but it's not getting there fast enough. And in this case, if it doesn't get there fast enough, the machine says, oh, I should have seen paper in 1, 2, 3 seconds. I never saw it. And we got a jam. Now maybe the paper hits it slightly thereafter and gets to the sensor because just the momentum of the paper, but the sensor says it should have been here by now. There's a problem. Shut it down. Turn it off. So the big question becomes, what's delaying, the media? What's causing it to not get there in time? I need to think through that, as I'd mentioned. And I should also point out, just want to, in case you didn't know, we've got unfused toner here, so be careful where you put this because it can get really messy really fast here. So looking for what's causing the delay. And typically, when I'm troubleshooting a problem like this and looking for the delay, if it's feeding through my tray 1, I'm starting to look at my rollers here. So rollers for my pickup, my feed and separation, or out of my cassette tray. I've got my separation roller that sits down here, and I've also got my pickup roller and feed, or my pickup roller and feed roller up on top there as well. And I can pull out my pickup roller here. I just happen to throw them in the tray there, so it's not normally there. What do I look for in a good roller? I'm looking for tread marks. I want tread marks in there, kind of like car tires. If you don't have tread, you don't go really well when the weather gets bad. So is it slick and shiny? Can I see my own reflection in it? If the tread marks are gone and it doesn't look like it's got much left to move the paper, could be it grabbed the paper and pushed it, but it couldn't push it far enough. Whether it's the pickup roller, my feed and separation roller, or something else in the paper path that's delaying it from getting far enough in the path. So that's my first thing I need to inspect. How do the rollers look? The rollers are looking good. Okay, is there anything else that's in the paper path? There's something in the registration that's snagging the paper, pulling against it. Something inside my tray 1 pickup area back inside here that I might need to get in and see if I can figure out what's causing it to delay or slip or not get there in time. The other thing to look for, and another cause for this, so I eliminate those. Gee, that doesn't seem to be it. But I've got almost a consistent jam here where it's almost always stopping in the exact same spot. Now, in my standard delay jam that we just talked about for a stop jam type, you may hear the symptoms of, well, it's been paper jamming for a while, but it's persistently getting worse and worse and worse. And it does it almost all the time. Rollers, my first thought, okay? Or you hear the symptoms of, it just started doing this. So all of a sudden I've got this problem where it's almost like stopping there almost every single time and we can't get a piece of paper through. Has it been doing this in small pieces here and there or small bits? No, it really hasn't. It's been pretty much, it just started doing this and we can't get paper through it. At that point, I'm starting to wonder if we have a bad sensor. Because remember, a sensor is supposed to detect the paper going through, right? And if I have a bad sensor that's detecting it, remember the sensor type is a photosensor. I've got two towers. One's got a light, one sees the light. When my paper moves, the sensor arm out of the way, the flag cuts in between the sensor. Well, it could be that way, or it could be my flag is between the sensor, and when the arm actually gives it a push, it moves it out of the sensor. So, excuse me, it either sees the light or it doesn't see the light in whatever combo. But if it's a situation where it's got the light broken and then it suddenly opens up and it's supposed to see the light and it says, I don't see a light because this one's not sending a light or it's not receiving the light, at that point, I'm looking at a sensor problem. How do I test that? Well, on the business class machines, on the HPs and the Lexmark, I can get into the troubleshooting or the diagnostics mode. And inside there, I can get into the paper pass sensor test or manual sensor test. Remember on the HPs, you need the manuals for this because it's going to give you the letter codes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and every letter pertains to a sensor somewhere inside the machine. You need to be able to use the manual to look it up to figure it out. If you don't have the manual, you're not going to be able to figure it out. Go to our website and download the manual so that you know what the different sensors are. When you do this test also, remember it's a live test. You have the doors open and it's set up that way, but you got to be smart about what you're doing because there's electricity in here. They are kind of set to protect you so that you're probably not going to get your fingers in some place, but there's a darn hot fuser back there, and there's other things that just be careful that you don't get a shock, okay? Be aware. So checking my sensors, I can set it up, I can toggle them inside here and see if I can, this sensor when I toggle it doesn't do anything, but this other sensor I toggle does do something. Is that a clue? Yeah, I would say it is. So my stop test can be caused by one of two different things we just talked about, right? One of them being my media is delayed. My first check is for what parts inside here? I'm looking at the rollers to see are the rollers worn out? Are they delaying the media because they just can't do their job anymore? Or is there something else inside here that's holding the paper back, delaying it, pulling against it? And if that's looking good, what's my next step? I'm looking at my sensors, and I can do tests on the business class machines. On the lower end machines, this becomes more of a guessing game. I use the logic. Well, this is good. Rollers look good. I don't see anything delaying the media. Keep stopping here. I'm probably replacing that sensor because it's either the sensor or the connections to it. Maybe my connections points first. But you're getting the idea here. So this has been our third paper jam for troubleshooting. And so now you know what to do going forward. So with that, this is Steve Geichert with another Parts Now Tech Tip.